How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/cocktail. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/cocktail.
Well, shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
Times are old, in times of new, there's a God to follow to make it true. It's the pop culture field,
We have a great episode in store for you today, but before we dive into this, we just want to mention that we have an amazing Patreon that offers amazing, and I'll say amazing again, amazing opportunities for you to include exclusive podcast episodes, behind the scenes, video uploads. We also, for our top tier subscribers, offer a monthly live stream movie event where you can interact with Izzy and I as we watch a movie every month. And it's a lot of fun, and we've been doing it for some time, and it's always a great time. So if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and check out our Patreon. We also have merch available through our online store. So if you want to rock some awesome PCFM merch, go ahead and check that out. And our Patreons also get discount codes for 20% off. So even more reason to get onto that Patreon.
Yeah, get some great merchandise with that amazing Pop Culture Field Manual grenade, the symbol of our podcast. Speaking of symbols, symbolism is important. Because, without symbols in the world, it would be dark and confusing and strange. I mean, if you think about it, why does every country have a flag? Why do we have brand logos? What about those sweet mission patches from the NASA spaceship missions? They're all symbols, and they give us a strong visual representation to help us understand the world. And today we're going to be talking about the power of symbols, especially within the military and specifically certain aspects of pop culture. We're talking about our favorite stuff, favorite symbols, favorite patches, favorite icons, and why we like them. And we want to give a special thank you to Sean Farnsworth, also known as Fonzie in the Twitch community. For the suggestion for this episode. He actually suggested the last episode, and this just goes to show you, folks, that if you have a good idea, we're going to steal it from you. So just keep your mouth shut unless you want us to take credit for all your great ideas. But hey, seriously, thank you, Sean, for your suggestion. And here we go, folks. And very happy that Chris is here with us today. And if you want more Chris, join our Patreon, because we have an episode with him about. I literally just forgot. We literally just recorded it, and I can't remember what it was.
Pop Quiz Hot Shot.
Pop Quiz Hot Shot. There you go. That's right. It's
go.
Here and gone. I'm living in the now.
And if you don't want more of Chris, you're dead to me.
Yeah, you're dead to Chris. Not us though, because we keep on rolling and trucking. But symbols, and we're not talking percussion instruments here.
Hey.
I had to get that in here. The little zinger for you. But yeah, symbols pop up everywhere. I know, Izzy's and I respective unit, Special Forces and the 75th Ranger Regiment, have our own symbols, as well as every single unit in the military has their own symbol. So I think, it would be best to start this podcast off by, explaining a little bit of symbolism in the military for you, and then transitioning to some of our favorite symbols, and then going into pop culture, which we all know has a load of awesome symbols included in that. So, I mean, for me personally, the 75th Ranger Regiment's designated unit insignia is probably the most identifiable image of that represents the Rangers. And within that, let me paint a picture for you. If you're just listening to it, you have a shield crest as the base, and you have the left top right and bottom left are green, and then you have the top left and bottom right as blue, and basically you have a lightning bolt running through the middle with a sun in the top left corner and a star in the bottom right. So I hope you can just imagine this beautiful unit insignia in front of you. And there's a lot of meaning behind it. Our unit insignia has changed a lot throughout history, but the one we have today is what I just explained to you, and it has a lot of meaning. So the colors, red, white, blue, and green, represent 4 out of the 6 combat teams that were the 5307th Composite Unit, or otherwise known as Merrill's Marauders during World War II. A little beginning of World War II, when they were heavily involved in the China, India, Burma campaign before we obviously assaulted went into the European theater and then the Pacific. But the lightning bolt, which is my favorite part of the unit insignia, represents the speed, aggressiveness, and quick strike nature of the combat teams behind enemy lines. So that's kind of like the lightning bolt encompasses what I think truly is the Ranger Regiment, which is a fire and forget unit. If you need something dead, you call us, because we will handle it. Not in the prettiest manner, but we'll get the job done. And then finally you have the star that represents the Star of Burma, which was the unit's main combat theater, which Burma is now Myanmar. And then you have the sun, which represents the cooperation between Chinese troops during the China-Burma-India theater. So a lot of meaning behind this, seemingly simple design. And I think that's what we're trying to communicate here, is behind these symbols is, a great meaning. What about you, Izzy? What's the Special Forces symbol?
The Special Forces symbol is, the actual emblem itself is in the shape of an arrowhead, an upturned arrowhead. And this is to give honor to the Native American tribes, which were the inspiration for the kind of unconventional warfare. In the shape of an arrowhead, and then there is a upturned knife, which is supposed to be emblematic of the Fairburn Sykes knife used by the British commandos in World War II. It's the earlier version. The OSS, Office of Strategic Services.
You mean this knife?
Is that? Hey, there you go, man. Yep, that's it. That's the knife.
Is it,
Where'd you get that from?
I got it from the. They're called the GGK. They are the commando unit of Malaysia.
That's nice.
And they were, and it's a commando blade.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
They gave it to me, and I'm an honorary member of the Garakas now.
Ooh, nice, man. So yeah, that's the Fairburn Sykes knife that is in the middle of the patch, and then there are 3 lightning bolts that go across the patch, which is quick attack by land, sea, or air. And then the full patch has an airborne, what do they call it? Flash patch, tab.
Airborne tab. Yeah.
I'm trying to think about it too much. Airborne tab, and then Special Forces above that, which is the official unit, Special Forces, which is the Green Berets. Not special operations, which is a blanket term for a lot of these special operations groups, special operations forces, but the specific unit, which is Special Forces. So it's an airborne unit, and then Special Forces. So make me wish that I paid more attention to my history when I was in, but it's been over 10 years, so I'm gonna give myself a little bit of credit.
Yeah, give yourself a break, man. When you have like that coveted triple stack, they say in the military, which is the Special Forces tab over the Ranger tab, over the Airborne tab. You know why the Special Forces tab is on top, right?
No, why?
Because it keeps the Ranger tab dry. Had to put that in there.
And it is very large. It is very large. It's Special Forces, which is a big word for the military.
Big word. Big word for big guys.
Yep. Oh, also we have the other the group for the Special Forces generally is 2 cross arrows, the Fairburn Sykes knife in the middle, and then a scroll going from one end down around to the other that says De oppresso liber, which means to free the oppressed. I always get nervous because, like, I feel like the expectation is that I will know everything about, well, like you, Cameron, like, you know everything about, like, the symbol and unit and stuff, and I'm like,
that's because it was beaten into me. Yeah. It was a different culture in your unit.
Yeah.
It was like...
It's fresher in his mind, too.
Yeah.
He's younger.
Yeah, plus it's my entire identity because... I am lame, and I haven't...
If he doesn't have that, he has nothing.
Yeah, without my history and my doctrine, I am nothing.
Or, if you really want to burn him, it's because when you joined the military, you had gone to college already, so your head was already full of stuff. Cameron's head was empty, and they just filled it with all the military stuff.
Exactly. More life experience.
There you go.
But
an empty vessel.
Yeah. There are other symbols that, have a lot of meaning behind them. And we're talking about the symbols for entire branches here.
Yeah.
So real quick overview of each branch's symbol because, each branch has a flag, and typically on that flag is a seal or an emblem. And each military branch has their own with different meanings. And we'll start with the best branch ever created and the first branch created, which is the Army. And basically, the symbol of the Army is a crest, and the central element is the Roman cuirass, which is a symbol of strength and defense. There's a sword, which is called a esponton, which is a type of half-pike formerly used by subordinate officers. There's a musket included, a bayonet, a cannon, cannonballs, mortar, and mortar bombs, all representative of the Army's implements. There is a drum and drumsticks that are a symbol of public notification of the Army's purpose and intent to serve the nation and its people. I don't know how to pronounce this, to be honest. The Phrygian, is that how you say it? The Phrygian cap. Phrygian, thank you, Chris. Often called the cap of liberty, supported on the point of an unsheathed sword, and the motto, "This will defend," on a scroll held by the rattlesnake, is a symbol depicted on some American colonial flags and signifies the Army's constant readiness to defend and preserve the United States. To be honest, when I was doing research for all these symbols, the Army has like the most meaningful symbol. To be honest, it's like the other branches, they don't really put out information, and I think they just like hired some Filipino guy for $10 to make them on Fiverr.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it as you're describing it, and as you're describing it, if you're just listening on the podcast, it sounds
like a lot.
So busy.
It is super busy.
It sounds like there is a lot of stuff in it. It makes sense when you see it. So I'm going to tell everyone listening to the podcast, if you're watching the YouTube, there will be a picture of this on the YouTube. You will get to see it, and it'll make a lot more sense when he says Phrygian cap.
Yeah.
But if you're just listening and you don't watch, this episode might be either maddening or just complete gobbledygook.
This is a very visual episode, so we highly recommend you hop on the YouTube machine and
listen here in your car, and then when you get home, watch on the YouTube, just so you can at least see the stuff we're talking, because the description of that seal makes it sound like it's a big giant pile of stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks great, but just the description of it makes it sound like this huge morass of symbols and symbolism. So
well, let's see.
Izzy, why don't you go ahead and explain the Navy?
Yeah, why don't we see if they can picture the Navy symbol in their minds as I describe it. It was actually the Navy SEAL, the official Navy SEAL, was approved by the president in October 1957, which is funny because we had a Navy for a long time before that. I wonder what kind of symbolism they had in the Navy before then, but The official seal is
2 guys making out, probably.
out on the waves, on the open waves.
Yeah.
They're naked.
Out.
But this one has a 3-masted square-rigged ship with a lace-type anchor in the front of the ship, and the American bald eagle boldly, might I add, displayed on the front of the anchor, which means it's doing the whole wing thing, the whole wing. And the seal illustrates land and the sea background within a blue annulet. I'm guessing that's a land formation or something like that. Cameron? Chris?
I don't freaking know, man.
Annulet.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think so. Wait, within the blue annulet. Wait, hold on.
I think that's just the ring around
The
it.
ring.
No, the ring. It's the ring.
Just call it a ring, man. Gee whiz.
Yeah, let's call it the ring. Kind of sound all fancy.
The Department of the Navy proudly displayed at the top of the seal, and the United States at the bottom, with a millet flanked on both sides with a rim of gold rope. So if you can picture that, good. If you can't, just watch the YouTube.
Can you picture that? Can you picture everything he described?
Yeah, obviously.
What I want you all to do is re-listen to that and draw it as he describes it, and then compare it to the actual seal, because it's not going to look.
And then
the
I want you to send that in to pcfmpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, send us your version based on the description that Cam and Izzy have given.
Yeah, U.S. Air Force wanted to keep things super simple with their one. If you don't know, it's basically, I'm sure it's an eagle type symbol. It's all silver. It's very angular. It looks like it was made, in Photoshop or whatever. And it's wings in full flight. It's it's got a star in the middle. So it's basically just a bunch of shapes, that create the impression.
Hold on, boys.
Uh-oh.
Technical difficulties on my end. Okay, so I missed the past 3 minutes trying to.
You didn't really miss.
Yeah,
anything.
we were.
Okay.
Me and Izzy were having fun at the expense of the Air Force logo,
Which is
but
super plain Jane compared to all the beautiful heraldry.
No, the Air Force's logo is trash. It is. They're like, oh, we're so modern and we're so progressive. Let's just make wings made of steel. That'll be a great idea. But you know who hasn't done that and just created probably one of the most recognizable logos of all time? I'll be honest. As much as I hate on the Marine Corps, I love the Marine Corps.
Oh, yeah.
I think they are one of the most.
I think it's, to be fair, I think it's the best logo.
Yeah, they have the best uniforms.
Yep.
They have the best logo, and it's if you see the globe and anchor, it is immediately affiliated with the Marine Corps. But yeah, let's talk about the Marine Corps. So the globe, eagle, and anchor, the eagle globe anchor is an emblem used to represent the Marine Corps, whether it appears on the uniform, printed page, or a flag. The eagle globe and anchor is an icon of greatness. And that's not me saying this. This is me reading off their website. So just trying to save some. Trying to save my Ranger buddies coming after me. Yeah, but I love the Marines. I love the Marines absolutely. The eagle is a symbol of the United States, and it is one part of the emblem that readily associates the Marine Corps with the United States. The eagle proudly carries a streamer on its back that bears the motto of the Marine Corps, Semper Fidelis, which stands for always faithful. Is it always loyal or always faithful?
I think.
Faithful.
Yeah, fidelity.
Yeah, always faithful. So Semper Fidelis, born in a gay bar. Okay, moving on. The globe signifies the worldwide commitment of the Marine Corps and its areas of responsibility. Marines serve in any time or place. The fouled anchor, whose origin dates back to the founding of the Marine Corps in 1775, represent the amphibious nature of the Marines' duties and emphasize the close ties between the Marine Corps and the Navy. I love how they say close ties when literally the Marine Corps is part of the Department of the Navy. So way to make yourself seem real independent there, Marines. But the globe anchor, the globe, the eagle, and the anchor. I mean, if you're in the Marine Corps, you probably have this tattooed on your body, or you have multiple stickers on the back of your Honda Accord, shining brightly to represent this. But out of all the logos, I think it's one of the best ones.
Yeah, it's. I think there's. It's got 3 parts to it: the eagle, the globe, and the anchor, which is real simple. It's not too busy like the Army one. It's not too simple like the Air Force one. Everything has a meaning. I didn't realize that the eagle is supposed to have something in its mouth, a streamer that has the
so
logo.
on the actual seal / emblem, the one we're looking at right now is just the globe,
metal.
anchor, and eagle.
Yeah.
But the actual like circle emblem should have that streamer.
Yeah, and
in the
Semper
official
Fidelis is like Semper Fi Marine.
Simplify.
It's so iconic. Even if you don't know much about the Marines, you've heard that that saying before, Semper Fi, Semper Fidelis. And you know the cool thing about the Marines, man, they are proud to be a Marine, man. Like once a Marine, always a Marine. I would say only the Rangers rival them in terms of unit pride. Like I was happy to be in Special Forces, but it's like I don't like talk about it all the time. I don't know all the history. I'm not like a nerd like that. But the Marines, man, very, very proud to be Marine, and I appreciate that about them.
Yep.
For me, this emblem, this insignia, it satisfies. For me, there's like two things that make either a logo or insignia or anything. This is across everything, including flags. One, it's simple, because when you overcomplicate it, it can be a little muddled. But two, it looks cool.
Yeah,
it does look cool.
If it's simple and it looks cool, that's effective. That's branding. That is marketing.
That is
101.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like the Nike
That's
swoosh.
why we got or like the PCFM grenade.
Yeah,
very simple.
Simple and effective.
Easy to get a tattoo of.
Easy to get a tattoo of. We have in the past. And if we had to write a About Us page, I would definitely say the PCFM grenade is an icon of greatness.
Icon of greatness. I love that phrase, man. I hope to always be associated with icons of greatness.
Now, Izzy, we can move on to fake symbols. 'Cause I know you're very excited.
I'm very excited about this because I'm just amazed at the creativity that goes into some of these symbols, because I think a lot of them take their cue from actual heraldry or actual symbology, which is cool because none of this stuff, these things don't actually exist, but it's kind of cool. Like I would be proud to wear these patches, and I'm sure people do out in the real world. But I have three that I would love to highlight in terms of some of my favorite symbols in pop culture. And one's from a video game and two are from anime. But the Foxhound symbol from the Metal Gear Solid series, Foxhound is a special forces unit that I think Big Boss was in charge of. And then they kind of go rogue in, I think, the events of the first Metal Gear Solid PlayStation 1 game. They have gone rogue, and you have to go in and stop them. But it's generally a shield shape, green border, and it has Foxhound across the top, and then across the right-hand side going down, it's a special force group. It's not special forces. It's one singular special force group. But in the middle, it's a really mean-looking fox, and he is holding in his mouth a dagger. I'm not really sure I couldn't find like what the dagger was supposed to be, but it doesn't look like a Fairburn Sykes dagger. But it just looks...
No, it just looks like a commando, like literally survival knife.
It's like Rambo's knife. It's serrated on the back.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and it's just like this looks like it could be a real patch. You know, apart from the asymmetry, like that thing kind of coming out of the side there, but really cool, really effective, not too busy, but like real dangerous looking. So when I do my Metal Gear Solid Snake cosplay, or maybe I guess it would have to be Big Boss because he was the head of Foxhound, but really cool looking patch. And then the robot.
Hold on, Izzy. I have a
What's
quick
that?
question. Do you think the special force is gravity?
It is a special force. It's actually not. It's actually not one of the strongest forces. I think in quantum physics or I forget which area of science, but like the gravitational force is actually one of the weaker gravitational forces.
It's simultaneously one of the weakest things, but also the strongest.
You think so?
Because
I'm trying to think of where I heard that.
If you have something on your desk, do you have something
Yes.
on your desk?
Yes.
Right next to you? Kick it up. Was that very difficult? Well, you just defeated gravity. However, it holds literally the entire universe together.
Gravity. Well, I was saying there's something the other force like that. It's some sort of quantum force or something like that. Maybe I'm thinking of the speed force. It doesn't matter.
No, it's gravity. You were correct. It is one of the weakest forces in physics, but it's also like it holds our solar system together. It holds the Earth together.
All right.
You know, it's responsible for black holes and not the good
I'm glad we
kind.
investigated that because now.
Well, you guys
This is very important to
went
symbols.
all in.
Did Cam just tune out?
I did.
For a few
I
minutes?
just,
Okay,
yep.
that's fine.
Checking his text.
All right.
Well. Shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much.
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
At Granger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, clickgranger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Continue on.
My
Izzy.
second favorite one is the Robotech Defense Force symbol from the United Earth government. It's the one that I could totally see this being it's like a UN type thing. It's very simple. It's almost Air Force like in its simplicity. It's a circle, and you have these two kind of triangles that come together with little curves. So it looks like a plane, upturned plane, or an arrowhead going up. White in there, and then red in the background. But it says Robotech Defense Force on the top, and then United Earth Government on the bottom. It's Robotech, one of my favorite animes of all time. It's the one that got me into anime when I was 5-6 years old, and I've never looked back. And just super cool. A lot of nostalgia surrounding that one. And the last one is actually...
Well, hold on. You're just speeding past these.
All right, I don't want to take up too much of your time, guys.
Maybe Cam and I want
to...
I appreciate that. I was just going to comment. It's interesting to me when you put red into a logo or something, or an insignia, it just makes it look
evil,
meaner.
Yeah, makes it
evil,
look like a bad guy.
Maybe it's because that's like a really dark red too. So maybe
it's like a blood red.
It feels bad, even if it's not. It just feels a little nefarious when you put a lot of red into a patch.
I know that a lot of times, and like for example, Cameron, your colors in the Ranger tab, they have a meaning. The colors mean something, like with the American flag or any kind of national flag. Usually the colors have some sort of significance, like brotherhood, camaraderie, fraternity, honor, sacrifice, that kind of stuff. I'm not really sure if that applies to this particular symbol, but it's interesting to note the red and how it hits you.
Yeah.
You think the animators for Robotech were like, what should the red mean? Or were they like, hey, what color do we need more of in this logo? Red? All right, we'll make it red.
Probably more of the latter, and then it just worked out.
And they said it with that accent.
I mean, other patches that, like, Chris, I think you're right when you introduce red into a patch, it kind of gives it this nefarious vibe, this, like, bad guy vibe. Because, like, you look at the, Resident Evil Umbrella Corps patch, and it has, like, red and white, and that's all it is. And you're like, immediately, red, that must be bad. You know, they must be up to something.
I think it's a cultural thing, too, maybe, because... I'm just looking at the white, and I think in Japanese culture, white means like death, I think. And so I guess it just depends on the culture and stuff. But the third one on my favorites is actually from a series that I have not really watched. I've only watched the first 4 episodes of it, but Attack on Titan. I saw this symbol first with people doing cosplay at Comic-Con in years past, and I really thought it was cool. They had the really well done, like, brown uniform jacket and the outfits walking around, and then this on the shoulder. And I thought it was really simple, really effective, and it's basically from the Survey Corps. They're within the show. There are 4 different corps for these city defense. There's the training corps, the garrison, the military police, and the Survey Corps. The Survey Corps, out of all of them, are the only unit that actually goes out and actively seeks after Titans. All the others are kind of more defensive positions. So they're like the hardcore. They're like the Rangers. They're like the recon unit. And it's a shield with a kind of a gray or silver shield in 4 sections, almost like a Crusader kind of shield. And then there's wings kind of crossing each other. One pair is white, or one set is white and one set is blue. And they are the Wings of Liberty.
Well, Wings of
representing the
liberty.
desire to break free from their confinement behind the walls. And I just thought that was very simple, very effective, not boring, but I like the fact that, like we talked about the Robotech symbol. It's like, okay, it has a kind of a basic thing, and maybe we'll put some red in there. Who knows how much thought was put into that? But we definitely know from knowing the show's creator, he apparently likes a lot of symbology and is a big fan of that. So the fact that he brought up these 4 different symbols and they all have their own kind of meaning to them, if you know about it, then it adds a little bit of extra appreciation for the symbology within the survey course. So I just really respect that.
You know what's something I find very interesting about symbols is that they are super difficult to create. Like the
good
amount
ones
of
or just
pressure.
Yeah.
No, just symbols in general. Like I know when I was creating Kick God, my streetwear brand, like trying to find like a quote unquote logo or just a symbol that would create brand recognition, everywhere it went. So like the amount of pressure that's on you to create a symbol that you are 100% happy with and like confident that this is going to represent your brand in like total it's difficult. I know it took me like months to finally like come up with a brand symbol for Kick God. So, I feel like writing the video game is easier than creating the symbol to represent it in total. That was just something that crossed my mind because I've got some picks for symbols too, if you want to hear them.
Yes, absolutely.
We do want to hear them. I want to hear all of them.
Okay. So originally, I think in Marvel, one of the most like iconic pictures or whatever you want to call it, symbols, I guess, it's the topic of the show, used to be the Punisher skull. So like to me, the Punisher skull was like the coolest symbol because it was just this really mean, distressed, like somebody just painted it on and it's like graffitied on whatever, the Punisher wears it on this skull. But it used to be my favorite because I feel like it's completely changed now. And like it used to be the Punisher's skull, but now like it's been stolen by like weirdos, like supermoto weirdos, and like bro vets of creating this new like Punisher skull that like ideology that basically creates this like ideology for like bro vet culture. That like whenever I see a Punisher skull on like some dude's truck, I'm like, wow, that dude's stupid because it's like
that's probably lame.
Yeah, it's like, hey, how do you scream I'm concealing carrying a weapon right now without telling people you're carrying a gun? Oh, let me put a Punisher skull on the back of my truck.
Can you remind me what moto means? You told me before, but I always forget.
Moto is like motivated, like unruly.
Right.
You know that video? There's this video. It's a really famous and hilarious video of like this maybe 12-year-old, and like he's in an argument with this guy, and they're on the streets, and he's like, "You don't know who you're talking to. You're talking to a future U.S. Army soldier." And like all of a sudden, like CCR plays, and they Photoshop him on a bunch like of war fighters in Afghanistan, and it's one of the funniest videos ever. But it's like that supermoto, like I just graduated basic training, so I'm gonna wear my combat boots. I'm gonna get my blue cord tattooed on me, and my entire identity is gonna be the military. That's what I mean when I say supermoto. So like and
those are exactly the type of people that have a Punisher logo, or people that wanted to be that and didn't get to.
Yeah, the type of person that was like, oh, I would have joined, but if a drill sergeant got in my face, I would have punched him. That type of individual. That guy is the one that flies the Punisher skull. And it's like, thank me for my service because I deployed to Kuwait. That's who wears the Punisher skull nowadays. But it used to be
cool. I
cool.
like the Punisher skull because that's who I am.
That's who I am.
I'm like, I'm all about vengeance and like I don't take shit off of anybody.
Yeah, but I pay my taxes still.
Can you just change my oil and I can get out of here?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what the Punisher skull has like molded into now. But back in the day when like the original Marvel movie came out with what's his face, the first Punisher,
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren.
Was it?
Or are you talking about?
Thomas
no, you're
Jane.
thinking about Tom Jane because we're old and you're not.
Yeah. Okay. Was there a Punisher movie before that one?
Yeah, it was one in the 80s starring Dolph Lundgren.
Man.
Lou Gossett Jr. and Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, I had no idea. Dolph Lundgren would have been a good Punisher. I think so.
He was a good Punisher.
Go check it out
Okay.
sometime.
Well,
It's
the
good.
one that came after that, because he was super jacked. And the Punisher has a cool story. He's a former Special Forces guy, or he's a former Special Operations soldier. He has no powers, but he just brutally murderizes people with weapons. Awesome hero. He's like Batman, but poor, and he kills people. So Punisher used to be my favorite hero. Now I don't like where it's gone. But anyways, moving on. World of Warcraft, the Horde symbol. So in World of Warcraft, you have two factions. You have the Alliance and you have the Horde. And the Alliance's symbol is like a lion head. And it's like super majestic and very like royal. It looks like you would, if you were a king, this would be like, your symbol for your kingdom. But the Horde symbol is like just this savage. It's super simple. It just looks like a banner of savagery that you would like if I saw this, hanging off some.
It's metal.
It's super metal. It's super metal. And speaking of metal, like the lead singer of a band called Cannibal Corpse, I don't know if you've heard of it. Super heavy metal. His name is Corpse Grinder, and he's a big World of Warcraft fan, and he actually has the Horde symbol tattooed on his arm.
Dang.
So, like, the video game has an amazing following. Like, it came out so long ago, and it's still as popular as it is today. But I've always played the reason, I played the Horde is just because of that symbol and because it's a good representation of, like, the classes you can play. They're all, like, savage characters. You can play orcs, trolls, undead, these giant cowmen called Tauren. There's goblins now, and there's night elves and all this stuff. But anyways, it just represents this, like,
Just hold on. Whenever Cam ever makes fun of Izzy for being a nerd, I want everyone to just play back that clip.
Oh yeah. Oh, I went to BlizzCon in 2010, man.
I'm
Yeah,
so
I
And
check it out.
remember
man.
that Cam said the phrase, "There's cowmen."
There's
and
cowmen.
He didn't bat an eyelash.
Yeah, there's cowmen called
I
Tauren.
love it. We're all nerds.
I
Just
wouldn't really
everyone
call
know
them
that. Everyone's
cows.
a nerd.
They're more like bulls.
Like
So
minotaurs,
they're these
kinda?
You're
giant
making it
bulls.
worse.
Yeah,
You're
they
making
look
it
exactly like
worse.
minotaurs. Yeah, so they're huge, they're jacked, and they have horns. But anyway, so the Horde symbol is one of my favorites just because it's super simple, but it just like represents savagery and destruction, and I appreciate that. Moving right along, easy one. If you guess I was gonna pick the Horde, you're probably gonna guess this one, the white hand of Saruman that represents all the Uruk-hai that Saruman created. He basically takes white paint and places his hand on their head, and they just have this symbol of a white hand on their face, and that marks them as Saruman's army. It's super cool, to be honest. And there's been a great like meme going around. It's not too new, but it's not too old, of like people dipping their hands in flour and then going up to their pets and like playing the audio where he's like, "Who is your master?" And he goes, "Saruman." And then they put the flour on their pet and create like a white hand on their dog's head or something. So yeah, the white hand of Saruman is one of my favorite symbols. Plus, I love Lord of the Rings, but for some reason I just am so like drawn to like these savage warriors. It's super cool. I don't know.
I think it fits your personality.
You are a savage warrior, or at least you aspire to
Thanks. Exactly.
You would, if you had been born 500 years ago, you would have just been the murderingest little man running around.
I'd be a
all of,
marauder.
like Scandinavia, or
I'd be a
Doesn't matter
Viking
where you-
marauder, a berserker, and I'd proudly have a Punisher skull on the back of my
or if you were
truck.
Aztec, you would have been the guy that they'd be like, "Hey, our prisoner got away. Can you go get him and bring him back so we can kill him?" And he'd be like, "He's already here."
Yeah, he's already dead. And I
I
just
already
take
got
my
him.
Aztec war club and just split his brains open and sleep like a baby.
Sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
I picked a few, and I'll go through them pretty quick just because this episode's getting a little long in the tooth, and we need to move along. But then, so the Rebel Alliance and the Empire logos, what I love about them is I think they really capture what each one is about, even though they're so simple. Because when you look at the Empire logo, it's so like
Machine-y.
the lines. Yeah, it's machiny, and it's closed in, and it just looks like whoever's wearing that isn't going to do great stuff.
Yeah.
When I was doing research for this, I came across this Quora post that was talking about like insignias that people loved, and this one guy, probably against what would be my better judgment is like, I'm not supporting it or anything, but the Nazis had great insignias. And he started listing them off and showing them. But as I was looking, I was like, they did have some, like the Panzer logos were gnarly.
They had,
and they were kind of scary.
It's terrible because they had the best uniforms too. Like their
Boss,
officer
baby.
uniforms were the best. Yeah, Hugo Boss. Hugo Boss created their uniforms for them, so they were looking clean while they were committing.
They looked sharp.
Evil acts. It's terrible to say like, yeah, no, they had some cool stuff, but I mean they did. I condemn it, but man,
yeah,
it sucks.
But when I look at the Empire logo from Star Wars, I get that vibe. I get like, and it's obviously intentional, but like you get a Nazi vibe.
Yeah.
And then the Alliance one, it's rounded. It's not soft. It still has the points. It still is a sharp thing, but it looks
bit of a fleur-de-lis kind of thing going on.
Redeeming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
like
upward facing. It's hopeful.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a lot of hope in it. Yeah, exactly.
And then that the winged one is the Jedi logo.
Yeah, that one looks great.
I think it's for the Jedi Academy. I'm not sure, but that one also. Which actually, I didn't realize until I was doing this. One of my favorite logos is from the last Starfighter. The Starfighter Alliance, or I forget what the exact name is. Maybe.
Oh man, I just know the Kodan Armada.
The Galactic Alliance. It's the
Galactic Alliance against the Kodan Armada. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it just looks so logo, 80s. It has like the red and blue, like kind of Tron lines on it.
It's almost American. It's red, white, and blue.
Yeah. No, I love that logo. But it looks a lot like the Jedi one.
Kind of looks like a bit of a Halo thing with the wings, and then the upward turned sword is always awesome, symbol of warriors.
Yeah. And it's like when it's pointing up, it feels very much like onward or hitting whatever problems we have head on.
Yep.
So those are, and again, if you're watching the YouTube, you're going to see all this and you're going to be like, yes. But if you're just listening, I'm sorry. You're going to have to look it up later. Just watch the YouTube. So those are mine. I think, I don't know. I think, I lean towards very clean, simple, and cool.
Yeah. What I love about all these symbols in pop culture is I think a lot of times people who maybe don't want to identify with the military or don't want to identify with kind of maybe nationalistic symbols, they still go out and they gravitate towards certain symbols and symbologies. I got a young man on my Discord who is like, he's like, I'm a Mandalorian. Like I'm gonna be a warrior, and he loves everything Mandalorian. He loves something like, there's like real warriors out there, like real kind of thing. So I think it's a net positive, hopefully pointing people in the right direction or in the direction of something real and good. But I think that there's a benefit to having these kinds of things out there,
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's even beyond just obviously they create these because in a lot of pop culture where symbols show up, it is because it's a military type thing. And militaries have, like we talked about, heraldry. It's very old. It's from like the 12th century, So they have these things, and it makes it easily identifiable. And it's just easy to then
align with it, kind of,
Yeah, and maybe don't get your what'd you say, your blue rope tattooed on your arm.
Or your blue cord. It's the symbol of the infantry.
Your blue cord.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe don't get that tattooed on you. But it's an easy way to like be a part of something.
Yeah.
Because if you're driving down the road and you see someone with a sticker on their car and it's a Punisher sticker, you know what that person is. Or if you see someone that has the Rebel Alliance sticker, you're like, oh, they're a Star Wars nerd, and I think I like it just because it's like a unifier.
Yeah.
Even for fictional things, it helps unify real people with fictional things.
Yeah, it's like when you see someone with an MS-13 tattooed on them, you're like, that's a good guy.
I know those people.
Stay away from that person. I hope they're getting that lasered off.
Yeah.
And that's why they still have it.
Exactly.
Did you guys want to do a quick? I just had one real symbol that we didn't talk about that I wanted to do real quick. It's the SAS insignia. The Who Dares Wins, which I think is just a killer motto. But the dagger, the scroll, and the wings, it's just, again, simple, clean, cool looking.
Yeah. No,
love that one.
Super iconic logo. The Special Air Service is actually as much as I hate to give the Brits credit, is like they're the founding fathers of all special forces. They were like the first one ever created.
Yeah.
And basically how the U.S. Special Forces was stood up was, they had a guy from the U.S. go over, see that the SAS were a thing, and he's like, I want that for the United States, and then Special Forces was born. That's correct, Izzy, right?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Okay.
Yes, it's
I was
correct.
looking at the
Yes.
I was looking at the symbol, and then I was looking at some of the other ones we didn't get to talk about, like the tank destroyers and stuff. So
You're
I totally
okay.
checked
Well, I'm
out.
pretty sure that's exactly what happened.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah,
No, yeah,
they're the
sure.
original Special Forces, and
They
the
are.
Who Dares Wins, like you said, Chris, is an awesome line. But we're better than them, so that's okay.
That's right. That's why I checked
That's
out.
okay.
Really, it's because anything not America centric, I just automatically ignore.
Exactly. Well, Chris, since you
You
mentioned
could say the student now becomes the teacher.
exactly. Well, Chris, since you mentioned like a real life military symbol, I have to really quickly put mine in there too, and that's going to be MACV SOGs in Vietnam. They had one of the
God,
coolest
yeah.
patches I've ever seen. The skull with the beret. That skull is, I'm typically not a fan of skulls, but this skull is just diabolical looking.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like it's going to come for you in the middle of the night. Like, if you saw this walking down an alley, you would, like, piss your pants and go running.
Yeah.
And, it's just, plus the just heritage of the people that wore this patch, they were, in my opinion, true warriors. So the MACV SOG patch from Vietnam is iconic.
It's
me.
almost it verges on being a little too busy, but it's kind of all tied together by the skull with the green beret on the inside,
Yeah.
MACV SOG on the bottom. It's also got like a bit of an anchor, and
Yeah,
then
it's got like an anchor at the bottom.
the shield with wings and the star with the oak leaves, kind of around. Almost looks like a scarab beetle a little bit. You can go look it up, folks, or we'll show it up. We'll show it up on here, but. Iconic within the military and especially special operations. Like, you don't take that symbol lightly. There's a guy I think I want to investigate that I've seen online, and he's like has it all over, and you just know that when like people are wearing it like they're trying a little too hard, it's like that's a little. I don't know anybody in MACV SOG.
What are you trying to say?
I mean,
What are you trying to say? Like the guy that has all the Ranger stuff behind him is probably a fake Ranger or what?
No. Listen, what I mean is, if anybody has any like light up neon signs, they're probably stolen valor.
Yeah. You're probably right. Yeah, I'll drop my DD214 in the description, but that's okay.
We'll put it up right next to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
With your
Before we move on, really quick, I want to do a special shout out to Pizza Strike on Instagram.
God.
There's this guy. His username is Pizza Strike, one word. And he basically, speaking of symbols, he takes military symbols or military units and just turns them into the funniest things ever. A lot of dicks, a lot of crazy stuff. So people send him their units, and he's like, do what you do best. And he turns them into just the funniest symbols ever. So if you want a good laugh, check out Pizza Strike on Instagram. He did not pay me to say this. This is out of the goodness of my heart.
Jeez. Oh, man. Well, that being said, do we have a fan question? I don't see one on here.
We don't have one this week, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because we're using a fan idea for the
That's
episode.
right.
So.
That is the fan question
That is
encapsulated.
true. But though we lack a fan question, we still have a game. And I am the game master, and it looks like Izzy and Chris, you are going to be my test subjects here. And by test subjects, you guys are going to play this game, and I'm going to sit back and go, ooh, because
Contestants.
Contestants, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Not test subjects. I didn't. Yeah, good.
Yeah, what are you going to put up our butts, Cam?
Yeah,
What are you
I
testing
don't
us?
know how big can you take? Okay, but this one is for Izzy and Chris. It is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the game that we love so much. I'm gonna give you the name. I'm gonna give you the name of an actor, and you have to connect him to Arnie with 6 connections or less. And try to keep this connected to our episode topic. The actors I use will be people who have played a character that is heavily connected to a symbol. For instance, going right into it, Christian Bale, Batman. Connect him to Arnie in 6 moves or less. Go!
Well, I mean, Batman, if we're talking about the character. Oh, Christian Bale and Batman?
Yeah.
Batman or Christian Bale?
No, Christian
Bale.
Bale.
You cannot connect.
If it's the character, Arnold Schwarzenegger is in Batman.
Right,
and
that's
Robin.
too easy.
That's way too easy.
Yeah, so you have to connect him through Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. It's so funny because they're kind of from different eras of Hollywood.
They are, but there's got to be that overlap. I wish I knew who else was in Newsies, because then that would just ice the cake and we'd be done.
Nobody really. He's an American icon.
Yeah.
He played the newspaper tycoon. Does a lot of.
He's an American.
Yeah,
icon.
I mean he's a great actor and he's been around for a long time.
Like I'd know him if I saw him.
Yeah, and he's been in a lot of westerns.
Clint Eastwood.
No, not Clint Eastwood. His name's on the tip of my tongue.
Lee Van Cleef.
No. Later,
John Wayne.
Later on.
Okay. Well, let's just get into it then.
Okay.
Do we want to? Let's work from Christian Bale to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's not work backwards.
Christian Bale.
That always feels
Christian
like cheap.
Bale. Christian Bale.
So I mean, he's in the Dark Knight with Tom Hardy.
Yep.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy was in Mad Max with Charlize Theron.
With Charlize Theron. So that's. And then Charlize Theron was in. Oh, she's been in lots of stuff.
Try to reach back to like earlier movies that she's done.
What is that movie she was in with Jeff Daniels? That was a long time ago.
It
was a long time ago. No.
Sure.
Who was in Prometheus?
Ooh, a lot of people in Prometheus. She was in Prometheus that had.
Oh no! You know what? Let's go back one. Tom Hardy. He's in like the bonus clip at the end of Spider-Man across the. No, not across the anything. Like Spider-Man.
Can't Go Home. No Way Home.
No Way Home. Yeah, and that had a million people in it.
Yeah, it did.
Because he was in the tail end of that.
Yep, that had a lot of Willem Dafoe, maybe somewhere around there.
Ooh, Willem Dafoe. That'll get us into the 80s.
Dafoe. And
Willem Dafoe was in Platoon with Charlie Sheen.
Charlie
Sheen. The problem is I'm trying to get to Danny DeVito so I can get to twins. or Junior, but that's not necessarily the best way to go.
If you guys give up, I have some, and I have it in 4.
Yeah?
Oh, you have it in 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, but did you look it up to get there?
Yeah, well, I'm the game master, so I can do that. Yeah.
What a jerk. All right, let's speed it up. So we're at Charlie Sheen. God, Arnold Schwarzenegger's been in so many movies, but I can't think of a single one. If we could get to Sylvester Stallone. Oh, wait. No. But that's probably the way that he went to get the shortest way.
Well, I mean, Charlie Sheen was in Navy SEALs with
Michael Biehn, who was in Terminator
with Arnold Schwarzenegger. There you
go.
There you go.
See,
there we go.
Yeah, the way
is there a faster way? What's the faster way?
There was. So when you guys went to Charlize Theron, you could have went Jason Statham in Fate of the Furious, so Fast and Furious, and then Statham to Expendables.
Oh, great.
See, that would require me to know anything about the Fast and Furious.
Oh, yeah, no, I saw it pop up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, everybody's in that movie.
I would have never known that she was in that. I thought you were going to say that she was in Hancock with Jason Bateman. And I was like, I don't know what Jason Bateman gets us.
Yeah.
But
well, no, I mean, you guys did it.
Right,
you guys did it on your own, and you did it under 6. So point to you. Moving right along. We have 3 names here, so you guys are on number 2, and this one is Ron Perlman, Hellboy.
Ron Perlman,
Hellboy.
Ron Perlman's been in a lot of stuff. He's been around for a long time too. He was in Alien Resurrection. That has a lot of people in it.
That had Sigourney Weaver.
Yep. Alien Resurrection, Sigourney Weaver, and Winona Ryder.
Is that where we stop?
I mean, so okay, let's take. So we got Sigourney Weaver.
There's got to be a James Cameron connection. So Sigourney Weaver's in Avatar. Is there someone that's in Avatar that's in other James Cameron properties?
Yeah, because he does tend to work with the same people.
I mean, Winona Ryder was in Beetlejuice with Michael Keaton and Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis.
Yeah.
Let's stick with Sigourney Weaver because she's been in a lot of
Weaver.
stuff. So Sigourney Weaver.
Let's see. Well, I mean, Sigourney Weaver was in Aliens, which Michael Biehn was in, and then Terminator.
There we go. Done.
So we get Terminator
Yeah,
again.
done.
Yeah,
4.
Okay.
I like
Don't be
it.
afraid to reapproach it. You guys could have also done.
Oh, let's hear it.
Okay, so you have Ron Perlman was in Blade 2. So then Wesley Snipes was in Blade 2. Wesley Snipes Expendables.
Oh, no. But he's in Expendables, but is he in the Expendables that has
Arnold
Arnold
Schwarzenegger, like
Schwarzenegger?
2 and
Let
3,
me
right?
double check.
I think he's in 2 and 3.
That I don't know.
I think he's only in 2 and 3. Or
Oh,
maybe he
wait,
just
he's
has a
only in-
cameo in 1.
Oh no, yeah, he's in the third one. Yeah, which Wesley Snipes is Expendables 3, so is Arnie.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
It all
what's
goes
our
back.
last
If you could link whoever you start out to any action star, they're probably an Expendables.
Yeah, or Fast and
they're-
Furious.
that's
True.
You guys are autistic when it comes to movies. I cannot believe it. Well,
That
you
was
did
fun.
it, and you did it well. Congratulations, gentlemen. You are, as the Marine Corps says, icons of greatness. So,
Bringing it
folks, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the PCFM podcast. That is all we have for you. As always, we are here for you guys to interact with. So if you have a question for us or an episode idea, just like Fonzie, who recommended this idea, go ahead and send us an email to pcfmpodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on our Instagram at pcfmpodcast. We love hearing from you. We read everything. We don't always get back, but I promise you, we read everything, and your comments are appreciated.
Thanks, everybody. Keep an eye out for us. New content coming up all the time here, and then also on Twitch. PCF mine is My Happy Self, and Cameron's is Kit God Cam. And I got some more YouTube channels coming out. We'll keep you informed. Follow us on socials, folks. Israel Wright Official on Instagram. Israel Wright Official. Israel Wright everywhere else. And then Cameron Fath on Instagram. And you're not on Twitter, are you, Cam?
I am on Twitter, but I don't really
X.
use it.
X now, right? It's X. You're not on
X.
X. Little too general thing.
Yeah.
Wank.
All right, folks. That
And
being
with
said, Chris.
Cue music.
Well, shopping for a car?
Yep, Carvana made financing a car as smooth as can be.
Oh, yeah?
I got pre-qualified instantly and had real terms personalized just for me.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
Well, I got to browse thousands of car options on Carvana, all within my budget.
Doesn't get much smoother than that.
It does. I actually wanted a car that seemed out of my range, but I was able to add a cosigner and found my dream car.
It doesn't get much...
Oh, it gets smoother. It's getting delivered tomorrow.
Visit Carvana.com or download the app to get pre-qualified today.
At Granger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.